I want to again celebrate with all Nigerians this June 12th, 2025, which has been designated as a Democracy Day by government of Nigeria. I also want to use this opportunity to welcome you to this INT Nigeria Summit 2025 with the theme Elites, Architects of Change. Elites, Architects of Change. But allow me to take you back to 75 years ago, when our founding fathers, the founding fathers of Nigeria, had a great dream. What was the dream? It was clearly expressed in our national anthem, and I have summarized that dream in the following 5 points. Number one, that though tribes and tongue may differ, but in brotherhood we stand. That truth and justice shall reign in Nigeria, both in times of peace and times of battle. That in God we trust to help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and that peace and plenty, Nigeria will be blessed. But most importantly, that we will hand over to our children a banner without stain. These are and should be the core values that should guide the development of Nigeria. But I'm sad to say that after 65 years, Nigeria is still struggling with weak governance that is soaked in what the former British Empire called fantastic corruption. I'm sad to announce that 65 years later, Nigeria is still struggling with insecurities, conflicts, insurgency, banditry, which has created instability and hindering economic growth, and over 7 million displaced population in Nigeria. 65 years later, Nigeria is still struggling with inadequate infrastructure, including electricity, poor roads, limited access to clean water and sanitation. 65 years later, we are still struggling with terrible unemployment, with an education system where there's a mismatch between the skills of the workforce and the needs of the labor market. 65 years later, Nigeria is still struggling with limited economic diversification, focusing only on oil revenue, which has made our economy highly vulnerable. My compatriots, 65 years later, Nigeria is still struggling with poverty and inequity, high levels of poverty and income inequality, which hinders social mobility and creates unrest. 65 years after independence, we're still struggling with lack of access to education and healthcare. We are still limited by access to access to inequality in education and healthcare, which restricts human capital development and reduces overall well-being of our nation and our people. And so with that, I would say Nigeria is still struggling with environmental degradation, pollution, deforestation, climate change, which poses significant threat to the environment and the well-being of our people. In the book Culture Matters, Harrison and Harrington emphasized that cultural values such as work ethics, education, social structure are more influential than geography, resources, or political systems in determining nation's success. Therefore, the quality of life in any nation depends more on the moral character of their people, principles upon which they build their lives, more so than the natural resources to which they've been endowed. And this is where the subject of the day comes in: elites as architects of change. Who are the elites? A small group of people within a group who have more power, more social standing, more wealth, more talent, and I must say more influence than the rest of the people. Examples of elites that have risen in their nation to change the cultural mindset of their people towards positive development. Nelson Mandela, he was a pivotal figure in dismantling apartheid and shaping a new South Africa. He negotiated with the apartheid government to end the system, leading to the first multi-racial election and his subsequent presidency. He played a key role in establishing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to address past human rights abuses and fostering national reconciliation, an elite that rose up. In fact, Nelson Mandela is known for his famous quotation, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I'm prepared to die." Elites that rose in their nations and developed their country. Mahatma Gandhi was another elite. Gandhi led the movement for the independence in India by using non-violent civil disobedience. His tactics drove the British from India, but he failed to wipe out ancient Indian religious and caste hatreds. Naturally shy and retiring, Mahatma Gandhi was a small, frail man with a high-pitched voice. And one of his famous quotations is, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Nigerian elites have to learn to lose themselves in the service of Nigerians. Another great elite is Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's first prime minister, spearheaded the nation's transformation from struggling multi-ethnic state to a thriving global economic power. He achieved this through a combination of pragmatic policies, strong leadership, and a focus on meritocracy and long-term planning. An elite who was trained in the UK brought the values of the UK, the Protestant values, and deployed them in Singapore with his team, and Singapore changed. One of his famous quotations is, "Even from my sick bed, and even if you are going to lower me into the grave, and I feel that something is going to go wrong, I will get up." Those who believe that after I have left government as a prime minister, I will go into a permanent retirement, really should have their heads examined. Who developed Singapore? Elites who were trained just like our elites, who copied the right values from where they studied and brought it home to change their nation. Another elite is Martin Luther King Jr. He was very pivotal in the American Civil Rights Movement. He was instrumental in ending segregation, achieving legal equality for African Americans. His leadership and advocacy for nonviolent resistance led to landmark legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Voting Acts right of 1965. Martin Luther, the night before he died, gave us this famous quotation: "I've been to the mountaintop, I have looked over, and I have seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. For I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything, and I'm not fearing any man. For my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord." The following morning, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed in Memphis State. An elite that rose and served his people towards change. Nigeria will never be great and truly developed until her elite champion a moral crusade that will establish in every strata of the society the principles and the virtues of loyalty, integrity, excellence, and compassion. And so I close my remark with this appeal from the book of Nehemiah, when he addressed the elites in Jerusalem. He said to them, "You see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lies in waste. Its gates are burned with fire. Come and let us build the walls of Jerusalem, that we may no longer be a reproach." And I challenge elites of Nigeria, come, let us rebuild the broken walls of Nigeria, that we will no longer be the laughing stock of the world. I wish you very good summit. I pray you will learn and commit to do something by the end of the day. May the Lord bless you.